Greetings and salutations. This is Miko bringing to you an audio version, the spoken word, of my weekly column on Macedonian matters. The English version is published on medium.com and the Macedonian version is published on Svest.mk. This week's column, which is published on Sunday, November 25, 2018, is titled Characteristics of the New Authoritarians in and Outside of Macedonia. In the new movie Fantastic Beasts, the character of Albus Dumbledore tells the main protagonist, Newt Scamander,
"The time's coming when you're going to have to pick a side."
As I have written about in the past and have said in many interviews, there really are only two sides in life. And those demanding that Macedonia give up and change its name, identity, language, constitution, history, heritage, culture, and much else belong to the side of what I would call the new authoritarians. They are both inside and outside of Macedonia. One quick word of caution, however. For those who voted yes in the referendum in Macedonia, I do believe that many of those people felt they had no better option. In other words, they believed the lie of Zoran Zaev that, quote, "there is no alternative," unquote, and they held their noses and voted yes, even though they do not want to change Macedonia's name. These are not the people I'm writing about or speaking about here. But those people who are demanding that Macedonia change its name and everything else that makes Macedonia unique, those people, the new authoritarians, include the Prime Minister and his entire government. Outside of Macedonia, you know who these people are. Here are some of the characteristics of those demanding that Macedonia change its name, identity, constitution, heritage, culture, history, and much more. Number 1, they reject objective truth, stating that their only truth is power. Number 2, they believe religion is not just stupid, but dangerous, and especially Christianity. Number 3, they tolerate no dissent. Number 4, they will use force to get their way. Number 5, they think highly of themselves. And number 6, they are utopians who believe in the perfectibility of mankind. Number 1, they reject the idea of objective truth and insist everything is merely socially constructed. The best example of this can be found in their insistence that male and female are determined by feelings and not by biology. Number 2, they believe that religion is not just stupid, but dangerous, and especially Christianity. The new authoritarians insist that God is dead and that there is no truth. They believe that faith and religion are impediments to progress, and that they impose limits on personal freedom, and that there should be no such impediments. If you were to poll these people, the vast majority would admit to being atheist or would place themselves in some other category of non-believer. The most ironic thing about this is they do believe in the worship of mankind and the state. Number 3, they tolerate no dissent. Luke Coffey of the American think tank The Heritage Foundation makes a point about this on the issue of Brexit. Last week he tweeted, quote, "To better understand how much control and authority the EU has over its member states, just look how hard it is for the UK to leave the EU. The lesson? Don't easily give up on your national sovereignty, because you are unlikely ever to get it back," unquote. And if you don't believe Luke, have a listen to Guy Verhofstadt, the former Prime Minister of Belgium and now both an MEP, a member of the European Parliament, and the leader of the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats for Europe, a voting bloc within the European Parliament. In a recent rant at the European Parliament, he could be seen and heard shouting, pointing his finger, and otherwise gesticulating wildly, stating,
"And that is the real problem, colleagues. Why there is such a problem in this crisis? Because member states are reluctant to transfer new sovereignty and powers to the European Union. And we all know that the only way out of this crisis is a new transfer of powers to the European Union and to the European institutions. That is at stake."
Number 4, they will use force to get their way, and if you disagree with them or want to promote your own views, ideas, and nation, they will attack you. These people, of course, do not believe in the nation-state or sovereignty, but do believe in global governance, with them as the high priests and priestesses of the cult of global governors. An excellent example of this is Macedonia and the events there over the past 2 years. Number 5, they think highly of themselves. I think the best example of this is Carl Bildt, the former Prime Minister of Sweden, who is now co-chair of the European Council on Foreign Relations, among other things. He enjoys tweeting frequently from airports around the world as he is about to jet off to another destination to hobnob with his fellow elites and lecture the peasants. He's a very important person. Number 6, lastly, on the issue of being a utopian. First, no one really consciously admits to being a utopian because everyone knows that utopia is not really achievable. But here's a fun fact. Utopia literally means no place. But the new authoritarians are utopians because they desperately believe in the perfectibility of mankind. They reject what Immanuel Kant said about the, quote, crooked timber of humanity, unquote, meaning that mankind is broken and fallible. They reject this and believe that with just enough social engineering, and with them, of course, as the social engineers and taxpayer money, of course, they can make what is crooked straight, and they can make mankind perfect and achieve utopia. But as English author Os Guinness writes in his latest book, Last Call for Liberty, quote, there is always a straight line between utopianism and violence for a simple reason. When the gap between the ideal and the real cannot be bridged by persuasion, it will be bridged by force, unquote. So there you have it. Some of the characteristics of the new authoritarians who demand that Macedonia change its name. But don't worry, they're not just focused on Macedonia. They intend to remake the world in their own image. Beware. I leave you with 2 thoughts. Number 1, there are more good things in this life than you can possibly imagine. And number 2, the proper attitude is always gratitude.